Huddle, good to have you along here this evening following the disappointing Packers loss to the 49ers on opening day, 30-22 yesterday. Normally we'd have DJ Williams up here with us along with a Packers player guest, but the Packers decided to go with late practices today, so no players or dignitaries were available. It's also alumni weekend, so literally anybody that has anything to do with the Packers is golfing, 3 sheets to the wind, or sulking in their drinks because of the loss yesterday, or practicing with Coach Mike McCarthy. So that's what it is. So we welcome Justin Hull from our affiliate in Appleton, WHBY, WSCO. Of course, he's a big part of our show each and every week anyway, so you all know Justin. So Justin, thanks for pinch hitting full-time with us tonight.
Yeah, sounds good. Sorry that it has to be me. Yeah, that's the
Justin
most applause I've
Club.
ever gotten.
Yeah.
So it's outstanding.
So let me ask you this. Looking back, what is 1 or 2 main things that you took from yesterday's game that kind of just glaringly stand out?
The first thing is undiscipline. It's something that we haven't seen for a while from Mike McCarthy's Green Bay Packers, and I really thought in that first half a lot of the flags, and I'm sure we're going to talk about the refs a little bit later on, but that's a convenient excuse. I thought Green Bay brought a lot of it on themselves. They were doing things that you didn't see this team do in a while. I thought they were really just undisciplined, I think is the best way to put it. That was number one. And, number two, sticking kind of offensively as well, was the rhythm. It just seemed off. It seemed like they wanted the big strike when San Francisco was giving them 4 or 5-yard passes, right in the linebackers, Randall Cobb, how they used him. And then they dink and dink and dink, and then all of a sudden try to go for the big play, and the next thing you know, drive was over, they had to give the ball back. So I thought the continuity on offense was off, and they were pretty undisciplined yesterday.
Yeah, I would agree. I agree with you that the 49ers were giving them stuff underneath. They did not want to give up the long ball, so they were taking that away from the Packers, pretty much all day long yesterday. And I thought in the second half the Packers recognized it and got a little better at it, but by that time they were behind. They were in catch-up mode. Everything was kind of going against them. I thought that they also, I agree, the undisciplined. I thought they let the officiating affect their mind. They were doing more time. They were spending more time complaining about the officials instead of just playing the game. I thought, well, Jim Harbaugh on the far side of the field was doing a lot of complaining. I thought his players handled the calls a lot better than the Packer players did.
I saw McCarthy, too, a couple of times. They showed him he looked frustrated on the sideline and was trying to figure out, was he frustrated with the call or was he frustrated with what his players were doing? But they talk about players taking on the identity of their coach, and I think you hit it right on the head with what you said there with Harbaugh, and yes, he was into it, but his players allowed him to handle it, where I think the Packers brought it upon themselves. And, they were frustrated. B.J. Raji, after the game, he used the word frustrated. I think that's what happens, and when frustration sets in, those are the type of things you start seeing.
I think what you can also take out of yesterday's game, and it's only one game, and there's a lot of football to be played. It's in no way, shape, or form are the Packers in any danger at this point in time. But I do think, though, that the San Francisco 49ers set the stage as the team to beat in the NFC. I thought that was pretty good. When you march into Lambeau Field on opening day and you outdo the Pack, the score was closer than the game. The 49ers thoroughly beat the Packers in every facet of the game yesterday.
It was the first time, I think, since late December of 2010 when they had the Super Bowl run that I woke up and, Green Bay in my mind wasn't the best team in the National Football League all of last year. I thought that, and I think heading into the season when you look at it on paper. But you're right. I think San Francisco last year, this was supposed to be the NFC Championship game in that site. Obviously, the Giants foiled that one to, knock the Packers out of the playoffs where the 49ers didn't get there. But San Francisco got better, and they got better offensively. They brought in Randy Moss. They brought in Mario Manningham. They gave Alex Smith some weapons who everyone likes to just rip on Alex Smith, talk about his career, just how good he hasn't been. This is the first time in his career he's had the same offensive coordinator, same system for 2 years.
Huge.
It's amazing what some continuity can do. So, yeah, and I think Green Bay, and we learned this last year, it's not about how you do in September, October, November. It's about how you're playing in December, which definitely, Green Bay, not the best team in the league right now. That does not mean they can't be come December if they clean some things up.
I was a point I was just going to bring up, and you beat me to it, and it's an excellent point. It doesn't matter how you start, it matters how you finish. There's a lot of things that'll play into that before the season is all said and done. Injuries can play a factor for either one of these two teams. There's any number of things that can happen between now and the end of the season, but the Packers proved last year 15-1 didn't mean a hill of beans, because when they decided to rest all their players and go into the playoffs, they had lost the momentum.
Let me ask you this, though, Bill. With San Francisco, then, as they take that perch, in your eyes, are they a team that can sustain that through a 16-week season?
I think so. I think when you've got the offensive line, the running game, the defense, which is probably going to be at or near the top all season long, yeah, they can sustain it. But the Packers sustained it for 16 weeks last year too, and then did not have it going for them when they were entering the playoff picture as well. So you can sustain a lot of things for 16 weeks, but it's still, what pace are you going to hit the playoffs at, and I think that's important.
And how about this idea too? Come January, could this loss benefit Green Bay? If you have a rematch with San Francisco and there's a tiebreaker scenario, Packers might be better fit to play in San Francisco in the month of January than they are the cold of Lambeau Field too. So just kind of something interesting there. I know they didn't want to lose that game, and it's a crazy conspiracy, and I'm full of those, but hey, you never know. I know there's a lot of people that like the Packers better on a fast track than Lambeau.
Yeah, I don't know that they'd ever want to give up their home. At least McCarthy would tell you that. Maybe the players, with a chance to go play someplace a little bit warmer with a different track, maybe that's. But I don't think you'd get that answer out of Mike McCarthy.
Oh no! I wasn't expecting it. I can say that. They won't say that.
Yeah, the 40. This is what's puzzling to me. It's one thing to lose the game. It's one thing to not make the plays. It's another thing to basically be out-physicaled in your own place. Mike McCarthy said 5 days ago that the more physical team was going to win the football game. He was right. And his team lost.
And there's a few things for that week, too. They talked about scouting Kaepernick in the Wildcat. He came in that one play before halftime. What did he do? He ran 40 yards right down the middle, like they didn't know that playing. But you're right about that with the physicality. You expected San Francisco to be physical. Was Green Bay going to be able to match it? And obviously, they were not.
Packers secondary reminded me a bunch of college freshmen still trying to find their way.
Maybe high school juniors. I'll go that far to say that one.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue our analysis of yesterday's game. We'll take a look at Aaron Rodgers' day, and we'll talk about the Packers' running game. What running game, you say? Well, still more to come from Tanners and Kimberly.